Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. So, before we get into your writing, before we get into your creative world, I want to know this. 5 years ago, this pandemic was changing everything. How did you get through that COVID time period, and how has it influenced the way that you create and live today?
That's such an interesting question. I
Uh,
can't believe it's already five
I
years,
know it's wild.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Um, at first I thought it wasn't going to affect me much, because I was already working like hybrid, so I was part-time remote, way before COVID. I thought I was gonna have a great time adjusting. Turned out, I think the corporate structure changed a lot and people once pandemic started, people started using, like Slack and Zoom calls a lot. And unfortunately, that kind of disrupts my focus a lot, more than I thought was going to affect me. And then we had work like reorg. Basically, it's like restructuring the company's structure. And that also affected me a lot. So I turned out I got affected by a lot of like indirect things that's related to COVID. And then my dad had a stroke.
wow,
So I think a lot of those things happen in a very short period of time. It kind of made me rethink like what life is.
yeah,
Is it just this? I came from a very like academic family. Everyone was either PhDs or get hired as researchers. Um, I'm kind of like the black sheep in the family.
yeah,
So yeah, I just wanted to do something else. Like, I think it wasn't me to go the research route, to be employed and be happy with, just sitting in a cubicle for 8 hours a day.
yeah,
And so in end of 2013, I decided I wanted to try, e-commerce and publishing books and see if it's gonna work out.
yeah.
And turned out I had moderate success, but I think I saw potential, and so I quit and started doing, indie publishing for real, full time in 2024.
So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. And to do that, I want to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-old kids at an elementary school. It's career day. And the kid in the back of the room is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer him?
Interesting. I am an indie author that writes in a crossover genre. It is travel guide meets puzzle game books for adults. And day to day, every day is different. I mean, when you work for yourself, you have to kind of do everything. Um, Me personally, I have like a binging tendency. And so I would like binge and write my book for, say, a month and then completely switch gears to, be coding in my Shopify website for another month,
Yeah.
you know, and right now I am completely in the marketing mode. So I'm thinking about what kind of merch will be interesting and what kind of podcast will be interesting. And I just wanted to like connect with people. Yeah. So it's different.
Yeah. So what did you want to be when you were 12 years old? What was your dream gig?
I don't know if dream is the right description, but I always thought I was gonna, follow my parents' footsteps, all of my relatives' footsteps, and just, like study, study, study,
Yeah.
get a PhD, and then get a great job. And
Yeah.
that great job is gonna lead me to retirement.
Yeah. So how did we get here? How did you get to this point of being an indie publisher and author? Take me back to where you were born and raised, and what were the seeds that were planted that became this life that you have now?
Yeah, the seeds were definitely planted early. I was born in Germany. It was West Germany at that time.
Yeah.
I, as a baby, witnessed the fall of Berlin Wall. So great conversation starter, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then so this is all because my dad was doing his PhD overseas. And then he got a postdoc. We moved to Berkeley and he taught there for a couple years. After that, we moved again, back to Taiwan. So Taiwan is where both of my parents are from. Yeah. And my dad got a tenure position in Taiwan, and that's why we moved back permanently. Unfortunately, I wasn't adjusting very well. I just didn't know the culture. I didn't know, like the food, and language and stuff like that. So it was hard in the beginning, but I lived there for almost 18 years before I came back to the US.
Wow.
So yeah, it was great in the end. I made friends, completely blended, came back to US, had, a reverse cultural shock. Yeah, so I want to say I'm pretty multicultural, also a little bit lonely, I would say. But overall, it kind of just planted the seed of me being very curious about, all kinds of cultures and like why people think the way they think, um, and how people think the same even across different cultures. And so I'm just like really interested in these kind of things.
Yeah.
It kind of led me to when I was in college, I majored in public health. So for me, it's more about the public and less about the health. I'm just interested in society and the public. So I went on to Tibet in exile to do my internship. Honestly, I didn't help much, but it kind of opened my eyes to like how people are living when they don't even have a country. And so, yeah, that was just like very humbling to know that there are people trying to like still make plans, still try to live their life under complete uncertainty. And then yeah, and then after that, I went to Uganda for another internship. It's more like okay, Uganda is more like a vacation slash you are volunteering overseas, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was my first time going to Africa. And yeah, it was just very interesting to see like all of the like Chinese made cars running on the road and you kind of realize, oh, okay, the whole world is connected. Yeah, and then and then I graduated, so I had to find a real job. So it actually took me away from all of the traveling for quite a while. I was like gung-ho on, holding down a stable job in tech. Yeah, but like I said, the pandemic kind of like changed how I view life and what's stable is no longer stable, right?
Yeah.
So I decided I wanted to go back to my roots, to what I'm really interested in, which is kind of the intersection of, travel, culture, like immersive, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm here now.
Yeah.
Back.
So I'm curious as an author, what was your favorite book? What's one of your favorite books? Maybe growing up or even now?
There's a lot. I feel like every month it changes, but I really like Things Fall Apart. I don't know if you heard of it. It's kind of like I think it's a Nigerian author who actually writes in English. Yeah, and I that was one of the first novels that I read that's completely from like an African protagonist perspective. And I just really loved it. I think it was like a great idea for people to understand how like, you know, there are people living in Africa or like a di different cultural norms that they sometimes think the same way we do. They have the same like concerns and worries, but at the same time, you can see their day to day is like so different. They're like running barefoot in, in the woods and stuff like that. It's just fascinating to me. But at the same time, he writes so well, like in English, and so you kind of like not just get the plot, you also know like what they're thinking, the why, and I loved it, and
Yeah.
I aspire to be like that, but I don't think I am.
But this is such a unique series. How did the whole concept come together?
The armchair travel series.
Yeah,
Uh yeah, I was trying to combine a few things that I know how to do.
yeah,
Um, Number one, the travel thing is because I wanted to do social marketing related to, like encouraging people to be more receptive of uh I guess outside of their comfort zone. Um the what are strangers thinking? Why do we care about them? And that's one of the reason why I want to do armchair travel because from travel, it's kind of like a gateway to say, okay, there are people that's different from me across the globe. I
yeah,
think Iceland to me is very much catering to the market. I'm, it's my first full-length book. It's only
yeah,
my second book. And so I wanted something that will catch people's eyes, like make it interesting. I can't be doing, like armchair Sierra Leone for the first book. I don't think that will gain much traction.
yeah.
So that yeah, that is one of my thinkings. And the puzzle part is really just me. I loved it. I am a lifelong puzzler. I do jigsaw puzzles, I do brain puzzles. I love all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, New York Time Wordles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just me, so it's very interesting. That was the first thing I think of to get people interested and also like in a relaxing way. I don't want this to be, work.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
So who's been your inspiration? Who's been kind of a hero for you?
My hero?
Yeah.
Um, let's see. The person who wrote the Things Fall Apart, he's called Chinua Achebe. I'm sure I butchered that. I love Margaret Atwood. Who else? There are some public house figures that's pretty interesting. I think he's called Jon Snow,
Yeah.
which is not the Jon Snow in the TV show.
Right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, a lot of great people that I'm standing on the shoulder of.
If you can meet one of them, if you can meet one of these fascinating people, who would you love to meet and talk to?
Oh, can I say someone else?
Please.
I kind of want to meet Hitler. Kind of figure out what he's thinking. I know I'm not going to agree with him, but like just to know why he turned out the way he did will be very interesting to me.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that is that a politically correct
Oh
answer?
no, you're fine. No, I mean, I think our fascination has no bounds. I mean, we want to know, I think sometimes why things turn out and become what they become, you know? So,
Exactly.
yeah, it makes sense. So let me ask you this. What gets you up every day as an entrepreneur, as a writer, as a creative to do this and to evolve, but to also take care of your own soul? What's that energy for you every day?
Oh, good question. Um, so yeah, I know I just talked up a big game, but for my day to day, it's really about I enjoy the autonomy. I don't know why, but like I'm someone who cannot sit still. I have short attention spans, and I just need to have the autonomy to both the autonomy for figuring out my day-to-day schedule, but at the same time, I need the autonomy for the big picture. Like in the long run, I know that I can write whatever I want to write. That's the beauty of, self-publishing is that you do whatever you want. And I absolutely love that.
So let me ask you this. If you were to run into an 18-year-old version of you in a dream tonight, you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've led, the choices you've made, the wisdom you've gained. What advice would you give that young version of you?
Oh God, might screw her up. I would say be bold. I wasn't bold for the first half of my life and I kind of regret it. But you know what? Like I think regret is not the right word. There's always the right timing for everything. When I was living in Asia, I think the environment is very different and it will be harder for me to strike out on my own like I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So maybe everything has its place. Like
Yeah.
I had to work I worked almost 15 years in corporate before I quit and start doing this and that really gave me a good like financial foundation to to do this now. And so yeah,
Yeah. I
I
dig it.
don't know.
No, that was a good answer. So, you've traveled quite a bit throughout the world. You've been to places that most of us would love to see. So I'm curious, what out of all of the places you've been to, what was one of the most magically, unexpectedly beautiful places that you went to?
Magically beautiful. Iceland.
I hear
I
that.
Iceland is gorgeous. Yeah, people ask me why I do Iceland. It's because we actually went to Iceland for a vacation right before the pandemic.
Wow.
It was a great memory and my only like good memory for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place is beautiful.
So the actor Rainn Wilson from he's Dwight on The Office.
Oh, I
He
love
Yeah,
him.
yeah. So he has a series. So he's throughout his life, he's been a little depressed. And
Mm.
and he's just not as happy as he wants to be. He's married, he's obviously got a great career, he's got kids, all this stuff. So he wanted to travel around the world and find out what makes people happy. And he went to Iceland and they have the happiest people on the planet.
Aw. Did
And
you
he
find
was
out why?
Well, it was because of all of the natural landscape. They're really good at pivoting because weather changes all the time. But just being around all of that scenery, having all of these different landscapes, the northern lights, the mountains, the hot springs and the cold, just all of these things. And there's just this natural happiness about him. And so he's going to the throughout the world and like Bulgaria, not so happy, but Iceland was happily like so he's going to all these countries and figuring out what makes human beings the way they are. And it sounds like with you and your travels, understanding people and culture and what makes them work, he's just kind of doing it on a more, I guess, filmed level, so to speak, and he's figuring it out. So, but
Yeah.
but he loved Iceland, absolutely loved Iceland. So let me ask you this. Of all of the adventures that you've been on, of all of the evolution, going from corporate, finding your place as an entrepreneur, creating words and books, what are you ultimately the proudest of that you've done?
That I decided to do this. I'm very proud that I am the only person in my entire extended family that's working for herself.
Yeah,
It's I'm not proud that whether it's succeeding or not. I'm just proud that I had the courage to do it and
yeah,
like we had the means to like still pay rent.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
I love
awesome.
that.
So everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, colleagues, everyone that reads your book, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think people gets me pretty accurately that I am kind of quirky. I guess my strengths is I think outside of the box. I do a lot of crossovers. Um, yeah, I'm creative. But one thing that has been interesting is that now that I wrote a puzzle book, people think I'm like the puzzle expert, and I really am not.
Yeah,
Um, for puzzle, I think I rather be the user because I have been like the user for my entire life and suddenly changing it to becoming a puzzle expert is too much pressure for me, but I think it would be great if say my business grows and then I get to collaborate with real puzzle experts. I think that would be perfect.
yeah.
I'm not.
Well, but this is such a niche thing. It's going to happen. The attention's just gonna continue. So if anybody wants to pick up Armchair Iceland merch, any of the other great things that you're doing in your world, where's the best place for them to go?
I would like everyone to go to Amazon and leave me an honest book review. If you're interested in merch, all my merch are personalizable. You can say, you finished this book, and then you can find a t-shirt that has like an achievement badge and put your name on it. I think it'll be really fun. So you can find that on my website, vegoutvoyage.com.
Okay, cool. I will put all those links in the show notes. What a wonderfully unique story. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. Best of luck with the book and all of your ventures. It's wonderful.
Thank you for having me. This is
Yes,
fun.
absolutely. Thank